Okay, got the new breakout room set up. I'll send you there now. All right, Ms. Torres, I'm going to move you back out to the waiting room for just a moment while your attorney's in the breakout session with the prosecuting attorney.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Malaro, we have Mr. Thomason is here now.
Thank you, Judge.
I'm just trying to figure out who the prosecutor on that one is. Do you happen to know?
What's the last name of the matter, Your Honor?
Thomason, it looks like it's Isaac Sneed's case.
I do believe so, and Chris is covering Mr. Sneed's cases today.
All right, so Mr. Fleming's in a breakout session with another attorney right now, so as soon as he gets back, we'll set you up with him.
All right, thank you, Judge.
And then Ms. Borders, as soon as we're done with Ms. Torres at the jail, we'll get Mr. Allen next.
Thank you, Your Honor. No rush.
Well,
Ms. Wise, I just tried to bring in Mr. Schwartz and he disappeared on me.
Oh, okay. I was just going to ask if I could hop over to the other courtroom and do a plea, but if he's ready, then.
He just showed up again, so let's.
all right. Sorry, Judge.
Okay, and Mr. Schwartz, do you have Ms. Anspa with you now?
I don't. I talked to her and she said she's right here, but I don't see her anywhere. She hasn't come in the door. I can't say when she'll be here. I expect she'll be here in the next 10 or 15 minutes. She probably left late because that's who she is. But she'll be here.
I'll put you back in the waiting room then. And Ms. Wise, if you want to go over to Judge Anselm's court for your plea, we're there. You can go now.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. Sorry, Jackie.
Your Honor, the number that we have for Ms. Garza is no longer in service. I'm not able to reach her right now.
No, she just turned her camera on. So that's a good sign. like she just tried to connect her audio and it didn't work. So I'm going to put the, oh, now she's got it. Garza, can you hear us?
You're muted.
Where'd she go? You need to unmute, Miss Garza. We can't hear you right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, can't hear you now. So,
Okay.
Mr. Murphy, do you need to speak with Miss Garza?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Thank you.
No. All right, 1 second. Sorry, I just clicked the wrong button. I need to.
All right. This. So. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just hold on one moment, Miss Garza.
Oh,
Just
okay.
have to
I
have
thought
a
it was
small
frozen.
having a small technical issue, so I will put you in a breakout session with Mr. Murphy right now.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Dagger-Margosian, are we ready to go on the record with Ms. Torres now?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. One second, I accidentally closed the breakout room with Mr. Murphy and Ms. Garza, so I need to reset that up once they get back here. All right, Mr. Murphy, I apologize for closing a breakout session. I clicked the wrong button, so let me set that up again for you.
Your Honor, I don't need any more time. Thank you. We're ready to proceed. And the court's ready.
We've got one to do first, and then we'll come back to Ms. Garza. All right, so we are on the record now in the matter of People versus Tanya Colleen Torres, file number 21-20453-FH is set for an arraignment this morning. File 21-20418-FH, 21-20385-FH, and 21-20386-FH were all set for
That is.
pretrials this morning. We are proceeding by a video conference today. Please let me ask the attorneys to place their appearances on the record, beginning with Mr. Fleming for the People.
Chris Lynn, appear on behalf of the People.
Your Honor, Michael Dagger-Margosian for Ms. Torres.
All right, and with respect to the arraignment file, Mr. Dagger-Margosian, file 21-20453-FH, how does Ms. Torres wish to have that information read?
Your Honor, we'll waive any formal reading of the information at this time.
All right, and have you received the prosecutor's witness list and request for discovery?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so I will enter a not guilty plea for Ms. Torres in the arraignment file. And would you like to set those then for a pretrial conference, Mr. Dagger Margosian?
Your Honor, I would ultimately, in speaking with Ms. Torres, I believe what we'd like to do is see if she can be screened for drug court. I think this is, as well as speaking with Mr. Fleming, I think this would be an appropriate case for that screening to occur. Admittedly, I'm unfamiliar with that process, so I'll have to try to figure that out. But I would like Ms. Torres to be screened for drug court. She would also like it to be screened for drug court. I think any plea negotiations would be contingent on that occurring. So I would be asking for a pretrial to be set on these matters. And I do just have a different request regarding bond when the court is ready to hear that.
Okay, so let's set it then for go with August 25th at 10 a.m. And so the court will do a notice on the arraignment file. Mr. Dagger Margosian, would you please prepare a stipulation in order for the other files that were set for pretrials today?
To have the pretrial scheduled for that day is for the August 25th date, Your Honor?
Yeah, to have it adjourned to the August 25th date.
I will do. Thank you. Yes, Your Honor.
And what is it that you'd like to say about the bond issue?
Your Honor, at this time, I'd ask the court to consider amending Ms. Torres' bond to a PR bond. She does live in Lenawee. I believe that there was a missed court date earlier this year. I spoke with Ms. Torres regarding that situation. I think that there was some sort of a family emergency, specifically it dealt with her daughter. She has been in custody at this time on belief and information for over 30 days. I think she has been in custody since June 21st of this year. As previously indicated, she does want to be screened for drug court. These instant offenses are non-assaultive. She's not currently on probation or parole. She lives with her husband. She's been married for 17 years. There is another matter in district court, to a district court, that I believe that there's a $1,000 cash or surety bond that's scheduled for today. That likely will be resolved today. And Ms. Torres has no objection to, if the court were to amend her bond to a PR, she would have no objection to reporting and or dropping drug testing. So I'd be asking the court to take that into consideration in my request.
All right, Mr. Fleming, any position on that request?
Judge, I would just ask the court to note, in addition to the failed to appears, it looks about 3 of the cases after the financial transaction device illegal sale use, the possession of meth, the retail fraud first, RNO, the possession of meth and possession of heroin happened while the defendant was on bond. So I would ask the court that bond remains the same.
That didn't happen when I was on bond. The possession.
Ms. Torres.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Dagger Margosian, is there anything that you want to say on that issue?
Your Honor, I guess what I'll say is Ms. Torres was indicating that it was not on bond, but even if it were, I would say that the time incarcerated has more than set her on the right track. I think she obviously understands, with being in custody for 30 days, she understands that there are ramifications for not complying with court orders and bond conditions. And so hopefully that, I believe that message has come across, and I would just renew my request for a PR bond.
All right, just looking at the history of the cases here.
I promise I won't let you down.
Based on my review of the files, there were offenses, looking at the offense dates on the information, they start in December and run fairly consistently. There's one in March, I believe I saw one in June, one in May. And so at this time, I'm not satisfied that a PR bond is sufficient to assure the court that.
Can you lower it? Can you lower it? Can you lower it just a little bit?
Ms. Torres, please do not interrupt me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to decline the request to change the bond at this time. I think it's appropriately set, so I'm going to leave it where it is.
Thank you, Judge.
With that, we can conclude. Ms. Torres, please tell the officer that's with you that you are done in court for today, or at least in this court for today. And we would take Mr. James Allen next if they have him available. All right, Mr. Murphy, are you ready to proceed with Ms. Garza?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, we are on the record now in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Sarah Santiago Garza, file number 20-19953-FH. This is the date set for a pretrial as well as a pretrial and contempt of court for failure to appear on December 2, 2020. We are proceeding today by a video conference. First, let me ask the attorneys to place their appearances on the record, beginning with Mr. Fleming.
First, let it appear on behalf of the people.
Matthew Murphy appearing on behalf of Sarah Garza, who is appearing today via Zoom as well.
All right, we did have a brief discussion off record, and it was indicated that there is a nolle pros that is in the process of being filed, to be filed in this case, which would only leave the contempt issue. Is that accurate, Mr. Fleming?
That's correct, Judge.
And Mr. Murphy, is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor. And in regards to that contempt of court, and speaking with Ms. Garza this morning, she does wish to enter a plea of guilty in regards to that contempt of court.
All right, Ms. Garza, I'm going to ask you to unmute so that we can hear you. And
Okay.
if you raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty for perjury?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are Sarah Santiago Garza, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You able to hear and understand me all right?
Yes, sir.
You've previously received a copy of, sorry. Of the request and warrant for violation for contempt of court. Is that correct?
We had spoke about it, but I don't have a copy of the paper. But it's not a big deal. I understand.
All right, you're willing to waive receipt of that document?
Yeah, because it was a big accident. So yeah.
Do you understand that the bench warrant alleges that you failed to appear in circuit court for a pretrial hearing?
Yeah, my hearing, because I was in and
All
out.
right, Ms. Garza, please just let me ask you a few questions and just answer the question, okay?
Okay.
Do you understand that the maximum penalty for a contempt of court is up to 93 days in jail or up to $7,500 in fines?
Okay.
Are you satisfied with Mr. Murphy and the advice that he's given you?
Yes, sir, I am.
Do you understand that you have a right to contest the contempt of court charge and to have a trial on it?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that throughout the trial, you'd be presumed innocent until your guilt is proven by a preponderance of the evidence?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to have all the witnesses against you appear at your trial, to have your lawyer ask those witnesses questions, or you could ask them questions yourself and have me order any witnesses that you have for your defense to appear at your trial. Do you understand all of that?
Yes, sir.
You do not have to testify at your trial, and no one can say anything about you not testifying or hold that against you in any way. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
On the other hand, you do have the right to testify at your trial if you wanted to testify. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
How do you plead then to the charge that you failed to appear at that pretrial hearing?
I'm guilty. It's an honest accident, but I'm guilty.
You understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up your right to a trial and your right to have a lawyer's assistance at that trial, as I've already explained.
Yes, sir.
Has anything been promised to you in order to get you to plead guilty?
What was that?
Has anything been promised to you in order to get you to plead guilty?
Oh, no, sir.
Has anyone threatened you in any way in order to get you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
If I accept the plea, you'll be giving up any and all claims that the plea is given as a result of threats or promises that were not disclosed to the court on the record here today, or that it was not your own choice to enter that plea. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Is it your own choice to plead guilty?
Yes, sir.
And so this case was originally filed, it was bound over to circuit court back on July 13 of 2020. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's been a long while.
And you were out on bond, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And there have been a number of pretrials. Would you agree with me that one of those pretrials was scheduled for December 2, 2020?
Yep. And I missed it because I thought it was a different date because I had been sick and a lot of stuff going on. And that was just the date I wrote down wrong on the calendar. It was completely because I've been to every single court date since. Right. And before that too.
Okay, thank you. I will accept the plea. It has been given understandably, voluntarily, and accurately. Ms. Garza has full knowledge of her rights, and she has had competent counsel. Before the court passes sentence, Mr. Murphy, anything you'd like to say on behalf of Mr. Garza?
Your Honor, I'd like the court to consider the fact that Ms. Garza is apologetic for the situation. She understands the issue it caused the court. Not being able to actually address her case on that day could have prolonged the situation. Prolong the case ultimately. She does apologize to the court for that. I'm asking the court to consider a fine in this matter. I believe that Ms. Garza will be able to pay the fine in a timely manner. Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Garza, is there anything that you would like to say on your own behalf before the court passes sentence?
No, sir. Just I agree with what my lawyer has to say, and I wouldn't have a problem paying it within the next a few weeks. I'd be able to pay off the fines and costs.
All right. I do, in reviewing the file, note that it appears Ms. Garza, once the warrant was issued, voluntarily appeared on it and has since that time appeared for all of her court dates. The underlying matter is ultimately being nully prossed. It will be the sentence of the court, Ms. Garza, to pay a fine of $100 to be paid within 60 days.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so we can conclude. You can go ahead and log out, Ms. Garza.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Ms. Garza. I'll forward you all the documents I have, Ms. Garza, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Fleming. Everyone have a good morning.
Okay, Mr. Montoy, we have Mr. Allen here at the jail, and Ms. Borders is here as well. Does anyone need a breakout session before we proceed with that case?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right. We are on the record then in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus James David Allen, file number 20-20150-FC. Today is the date set for pretrial conference in this matter. We are proceeding today as a video conference that's being streamed to a channel. First, let me ask the attorneys to place their appearances on the record and indicate whether they have any objection to the manner in which we're proceeding, beginning with Ms. Borders for the people.
Angie Borders on behalf of the people, and I have no objection to proceeding in this manner, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Brian Montoy on behalf of Mr. Allen, and we have no objection to proceeding by video conference.
Thank you. And for the record, we do have Mr. Allen that is present via Zoom also from the Lenawee County Jail. I did have a telephone conference, or I guess a Zoom session with Mr. Guerin and Ms. Borders last week, in which we discussed trial dates, and we were able to identify trial dates at that time. And it's my understanding, I'll just go over them for the record, that those dates would be September 9th as the first day, and then September 10th, 14th, 15th. The 15th would be a half day. Then 16th, 17th, 21st, September 22nd, that would be a half day. And then the 23rd, 24th, and 28th. Is that all accurate, Ms. Borders and Mr. Montoy?
It is, Your Honor. The one thing I did not ask is when you indicate half day, do you mean morning or afternoon, just for subpoena purposes?
So those would be afternoons. Those are Wednesdays, and I would, have my normal pretrials and arraignments on Wednesday mornings, and then we would start after.
Okay, thank you.
And that is our understanding as well for the dates, Your Honor.
Okay, and then I don't recall if we identified a date for a final pretrial conference at that time. I think we did, and I didn't get it in my notes. Did you have information on that?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe it's August 18th, and I cannot remember whether it was at 8:30 or at 10 though.
I would add, Your Honor, that my understanding is that on the 18th then is where we would have hearings regarding motions in limine on that date as well.
And I believe because of that, it was set for 10 o'clock. I recall that now at this time.
Okay. So the final pretrial would be August 18th at 10 a.m. and then we would hear motions at that time as well. Are there any other issues that we need to discuss today then?
I have two housekeeping matters, if I may, Your Honor, regarding the August 18th date that you just talked about. And I just want to make sure that we have filed the motions we need to file, and we've got everything covered because of quite frankly, of the scheduling. I know it took a lot to get everyone's schedules coordinated to start on the 9th, and quite frankly, we don't have time for another, motion hearing before the 9th. So I'm looking at the people's notice and notice of intent to use other acts of evidence that they filed, and they clearly specify their intent to introduce testimony of Caleb Winchester. There's two, it mentions 404B and MCL 768.27B. I just want to make sure I'm understanding it right, that that's the testimony of Mr. Winchester is what they want to get in, and that they're using two different legal theories to try and do that. That's the motion that we actually filed yesterday and copied the people on, served on the people. The motion addresses both of those theories with respect to Mr. Winchester's testimony. So I just want to make sure that I've got that covered correctly.
As far as I received the motions, there was that motion as well as another. I've reviewed them and yes, that's both those statutes. Well, one court rule and a statute that I'm relying on, yes.
Okay, from Mr. Winchester's testimony, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, and then also with respect to the 18th, then the hearings, I assume at this point, my understanding is the courthouse is open, so will this be in person, witnesses and attorneys there in person on the 18th, Your Honor?
Well, I guess let's flesh that out a little bit. I saw that something came in by email yesterday, but I haven't had a chance to read it. So what is the hearing we would be having, and how much time do you anticipate needing for it? Can you just let me know that information?
We filed two motions, Your Honor. One is for a Daubert hearing with respect to Dr. Buck's testimony. I don't know what Ms. Borders thinks. I would think maybe that's an hour, something like that, maybe at most. And the other is our objection to facts evidence that I just mentioned. And I think that's probably shorter than that, much shorter than that.
I would agree with that. The Daubert could last longer than an hour, depending on what's necessary. I briefly reviewed it yesterday when I received it via the email as well. I have not prepared a response since yesterday, so I'm assuming an hour would be sufficient, but I don't want the court to rely on just an hour if the court needs more time. If we end up needing more time, I don't believe the culmination of both would take even 2 hours, though, regardless.
I would agree with that.
Okay. I'm not sure, given that's the case, that trying to have those hearings on a Wednesday morning is going to be a good idea. In fact, it's probably a bad idea. So let's try to identify a time that we're able to do that. We're looking at we're looking in our book for potential dates right now.
Yes, Your Honor, just for her, while she's looking there, I am out of town, and I had actually spoke to the court about this in the past, the 12th through the 17th. So just for purposes of scheduling that week, it would be after the 12th.
All right.
The 18th in the afternoon would be great as well. While the court's looking, I just want to indicate that I did serve a copy, I don't know if they've received it yet, of an amended witness list and exhibit list. I have no further motions to file at this time. Everything else will be ready by the scheduled pretrial or scheduling order date.
We appreciate that. Haven't received it yet. You said you just filed it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I believe it was, I'm sorry, there's a delay. I believe we filed it on Friday, so it should be to you any day.
Sure, great.
How about August 19th at 1:30 PM?
Looks like I'm available, Your Honor. 19th.
I'm checking, Your Honor. I've got to check a couple of schedules here. Well, I'm available, Your Honor. Mr. Guerin does have a hearing in another court at 3 o'clock on that date. I don't know if he can move that or not. Possible that he can.
All right, I guess what I'll ask Mr. Montoy, if you can, let's tentatively set it there. And then if you can check with Mr. Guerin, if there's an issue, let us know as soon as possible, and then we'll work on another date.
And that was the 19th at 1:30, was it?
Correct.
Your Honor, I don't know if Ms. Boris has other matters in this court this morning, but if you could give me just maybe pass this for 5 minutes or something, I could probably get a hold of them and check it out right now so we could get this set.
I can wait. It's no trouble.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'm gonna go do that and then come back and I'll let you know when I'm ready. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other substantive issues to discuss, or I'm just,
I do not, no, Your Honor. I think we're all set.
all right, if not, then can we address the scheduling issue in the absence of Mr. Allen, or do we need to have him remain here?
No, I think, yeah, he can go ahead and go. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mr. Allen, then you can tell the officer that's with you that you are done in court for today, and we would take Tyreek Damon if they have him available. Okay, bumping that if we have to. Okay. Okay, good morning, Ms. Goldstein. They are bringing Mr. Damon right now.
Okay.
I also have Mr. Allen, Ronald Allen.
Correct. I have a number of matters this morning, Your Honor. Some are now and some are at 10, but I'm not sure which are which.
we doing? Ronald Allen?
Mr. Goldstein, who's your prosecutor for Ronald Allen?
Your Honor, I'm not sure, because it's been a different one, different times. I'm assuming it's Angie Borders, but I'm not positive.
It is not.
It's not?
Now, Ronald Allen?
Yeah, do you know who it is, Angie?
I can find out. I don't know. Hold on one second.
I'm covering Mr. Allen this morning, but it is Mr. Sneed's case.
All right. Okay, so I brought Mr. Allen into the meeting. His camera's not on, his audio is not connected yet, so we'll give him a minute to get that accomplished. Mr. Montoy, were you able to resolve that issue?
I was able to get a hold of Mr. Garrett. Thank you, Your Honor. Thursday, the 19th at 1:30 will be fine. He'll move that other hearing.
Okay, thank you very much. I will then send out a scheduling order with our trial dates and final pretrial date. I'll also make a note of that hearing date on the motion for, actually, Mr. Guerin, would you do a notice of hearing for that date and time for your motions?
We could do that, Your Honor, and that's, again, just so I get the notice right, that's in person, correct?
Yeah, I think if we're going to take testimony, it makes sense to have that in person.
I agree. Thank you. We'll do a notice of hearing.
All right. Okay, thank you. If there's nothing else to address in that one, you can go ahead and log out.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Ms. Borders.
Okay, we're still waiting on Ronald Allen to get his audio connected or turn his camera on. Let me see if I can ask him to start his video.
We're ready.
Okay, all right, Mr. Schwartz, you have Ms. Ansbaugh with you now?
I do, Your Honor. She got stuck in all the orange barrels.
Turn around quite a bit.
Okay, we are on the record now in the matter of the People versus Melissa Ann Ansbaugh. It's file number 21-20368-FH. Today is the date set for a pretrial conference in this matter. We are proceeding today by a video conference that's being streamed to a YouTube channel. First, let me ask the attorneys to place their appearances on the record, beginning with Ms. Wise for the People.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jackie Wise on behalf of the people.
And Mr. Schwartz.
Seymour Schwartz, Your Honor, appearing on behalf of the defendant.
All right, and we are scheduled today for a pretrial conference. It's my understanding that a plea resolution has been reached. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's correct. Can I place that on the record, Mr. Schwartz?
Absolutely.
Okay, I believe Ms. Ansbach will be pleading guilty to count 3, controlled substance possession of methamphetamine, The remaining counts would be dismissed at the time of sentencing. We have no objection to 7411 if she's eligible. And we also have a COBS to no upfront jail.
And we agree with that, Your Honor. And she's executed the agreement. We haven't sent it, but we could really do that right now, I think, because Nicolette's here. She knows how to do all that cool stuff.
I'm sorry, what was that, Mr. Schwartz?
We have the plea agreement. It's executed. We're gonna scan it right now and send it out.
What I
in the
did, Your Honor,
meantime-
I apologize. I sent him a written plea agreement for the file just because I didn't know if I was going to be present. So I don't know if the court wants it in the file or not.
No, that's all right. If we're doing everything on the record, that's fine. So,
okay.
Ms. Wise, I think you said, just so we're clear, did you say Killebrew agreement? Because I have not had any discussions
No.
about it.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Your Honor. We would kill a brew to no upfront jail.
Just want to be clear. So, all right. So it's count 3 only then. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Schwartz, I need you to maybe adjust your device a little bit so that we can see Ms. Anspot. Thank you. Ms. Anspot, will you raise your right hand, please? Swear or affirms to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty for perjury.
Yes, I am.
And you are Melissa Ann Anspot, is that right?
Yes.
You've heard the statement of your attorney and the prosecuting attorney. Is it your intention to plead guilty today to count 3 on the amended complaint? Controlled substance, possession of methamphetamine or ecstasy?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with Mr. Schwartz and the advice that he's given you?
Yes.
Do you understand that the maximum penalty for this offense is up to 10 years in prison and or a $15,000 fine?
Yes.
Do you also understand that unless you're sentenced to more than a year in prison, that the court must impose license sanctions pursuant to MCL 333.7408A?
Yes.
Neither the prosecutor, defendant, or anyone acting on the defendant's behalf has discussed a possible sentence with the court other than as we've addressed this morning. Is that correct, Ms. Wise?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And Mr. Schwartz?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that also your understanding, Ms. Anspot?
Yes, sir.
The guilty plea is accepted. There will be no trial. That means you'll be giving up the rights that you would have had at trial. I'm going to explain those rights to you now to make sure that you understand them. You do have the right to a speedy public trial by jury. You can ask for a non-jury trial, and if the prosecutor and the court agreed, you could have a non-jury trial. You have the right to be presumed innocent until your guilt is proven beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to have the prosecuting attorney prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty, and you do not have to prove anything. You have the right to be present at your trial, to have the witnesses against you appear at your trial, and to ask those witnesses questions. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses that you have for your defense to appear at your trial. You have the right to remain silent during your trial and not have that silence used against you. However, you also have the right to testify at your trial if you wanted to testify. Do you understand that if your plea is accepted, you may be giving up the right to appeal issues that would otherwise be appealable if you were convicted at a trial?
Yes, sir.
Do you also understand that any appeal from the conviction and sentence pursuant to this plea would be by application for leave to appeal and not by right?
Yes, sir.
If you are not a citizen of the United States of America, conviction of a crime can result in deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States of America, or denial of naturalization. Do you have any questions about any of those rights?
No, sir.
And you understand you're giving those rights up?
Yes.
How do you wish to plead then to the charge that on or about August 21st, 2020 in Ridgeway Township, Lenawee County, Michigan, that you did commit the offense of possession of a controlled substance, methamphetamine or ecstasy?
Guilty.
Has anyone made any threats or promises to you to induce you to plead guilty to that charge?
No, sir.
You understand that if I accept the plea, you will be giving up any and all claims that the plea is given as a result of threats or promises that were not disclosed to the court on the record here this morning, or that it was not your own choice to enter that plea?
Yes, sir.
Is prosecutor or defense counsel aware of any promises, threats, or inducements other than the plea bargain to induce the defendant to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Anspaugh, has your attorney promised you any particular sentence or estimated what your sentence would be?
No, sir.
Is it your own choice?
Excuse me, Your Honor, not beyond the, I guess it would be,
the Killebrew
part of the agreement that says no sale at the outset.
All right. So other than that, Ms. Anspaugh, has your attorney promised you any particular sentence or estimated what your sentence would be?
No. Nothing, sir. Just.
Is it your own choice to plead guilty today?
Yes.
Mr. Schwartz, would you like to establish the factual basis?
I don't have an information in front of me, but I think I can go through it with the exception of the date. You were in Ridgeway County?
Yeah, Miss Britton.
You were in Britain?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's Mr. Schwartz,
Township.
you would say it's Ridgeway Township.
Township, right, Ridgeway Township. Lenawee County, correct?
Yes.
State of Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
What date was it?
Like late August or middle August, I think. 21st-ish, I think, maybe.
A year ago?
Yeah.
2020?
Yeah.
All right, the police came in the house?
Yes.
And there were drugs in the house, correct?
Yes.
Ecstasy?
No.
Methamphetamine? Was there methamphetamine?
Yes.
All right, did you know there was methamphetamine in the house?
Yes, I did.
All right, and they found that methamphetamine?
Yes.
All right, and you knew that it was there?
Yes.
All right, I think that satisfies, with the exception of the exact date, I think that satisfies the requirement.
21st, I think it was.
21st of August?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Ms. Wise, any questions that you would like to ask?
You and at that time you possessed it, you intended to possess methamphetamine, correct?
Yes.
I'm satisfied, Your Honor.
All right, has the court complied with MCR 6.302 B, C, and D, Ms. Wise?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Schwartz?
Yes, Your Honor.
I will accept the plea then has been given understandably, voluntarily, and accurately. The defendant has full knowledge of her rights and she has had competent counsel. The court's not made any agreement regarding the possibility of a plea or possible sentence in this case with the prosecutor, defense attorney, defendant, or anyone acting in the interest of any of them other than as has been discussed on the record here this morning. I am referring this matter to the probation department for a pre-sentence investigation. And we'll set the sentencing date for September 9th, 2021 at 8:15 a.m.
All right, let me just check that. Is that date good? What? Who is it? Your Honor, I have a trial scheduled at 9 o'clock in person in St. Clair County, Port Huron that day. Can we do it, what do I have on the 16th? Can we do it the 16th, Your Honor?
Yeah, we can do September 16th, 2021 at 8:15 a.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Anspaugh, someone from the probation department will be in touch with you to do a pre-sentence investigation interview. When you do that interview, please be truthful about this offense and about your background.
Okay.
I will continue bond as it's currently set. I'm also going to sign an order for a DNA sample to be collected. When you get that, you'll need to take it to the Lenawee County Jail. If they've already collected your DNA sample, they won't need to do it again, but I don't see in my file that that's happened yet. Also going to sign.
sorry. I have an order for it already. I didn't get a chance to get it done yet, so I was gonna go do it today.
Right.
Your
I'm also-
Honor, I think probation needs she has a new phone number too. She just got it the other day.
All right, we'll get there.
Okay.
I'm also going to sign an order for fingerprints because the file doesn't reflect that we have fingerprints for you in this file. You're going to need to take that to the arresting agency. Was that the Lenawee County Sheriff?
Yeah, I was arrested there and bonded out there, and they fingerprinted me.
All right, so you're going to need to take that order, and if they've done the fingerprints for this file already, you're going to need to make sure they transfer that information to us. If they haven't done it, you're going to need to have the fingerprints done again because we can't conduct the sentencing hearing unless I have the fingerprint information in your file.